The year is 2036, a civil war is raging in Europe. Almost the entire eastern part of Ukraine is controlled by Commander Viktor Koval, a man few people have seen. The events begin in a half-destroyed city where hostilities are taking place. A platoon of peacekeepers, supported by combat androids, is engaged in a firefight with the enemy. Near the hit armored personnel carrier remained wounded soldiers, and the commander does not want to leave until they pull out the injured. Watching the battle is drone operator Thomas Harp, who is in charge of air cover. Suddenly, a vehicle breaks through to the fighting men and stops nearby. Harp asks for permission to destroy the potential threat. The platoon commander forbids opening fire because he hopes to save the wounded. Harp insists he is sure that it is not just an armored vehicle, but a rocket launcher, and against all orders makes a volley of rockets. The installation is destroyed, 2 soldiers are killed, but a whole platoon is saved. The girl sitting next to him is outraged at Thomas's disobedience. The man leaves the room. Despite the fact that Harp is a brilliant pilot and an effective soldier, he is sent for retraining. By doing so, the command takes him out of danger of standing before a tribunal, for he has violated a direct order. Harp goes to the platoon whose soldiers he shot. His immediate superior is Captain Leo. Commander Eckhart informs Harp that he must have screwed up big time if he was sent to Leo. The man sends him to Block 13 and warns him that Leo is not like the other officers. But Thomas realizes this when he sees a young, sturdy man in a large room listening to old records. Leo meets Thomas by listing all his virtues, from which it becomes clear that he knows everything about his partner. As they talk, Leo packs his backpacks and informs them that they have to deliver a vaccine to a refugee camp because there has been an outbreak of cholera there. But this is just a cover, because the main activity is to find and take sophisticated weapons from the rebels. Leo tells Thomas about the warlord Viktor Koval, who along with his supporters is fighting for Ukraine to become part of Russia. The rebels are against it. The place becomes the most tense for the UN, so American peacekeepers are brought here. According to intelligence reports, Koval is responsible for the nuclear bomb explosion in Kiev that killed 25,000 people. And the worst thing is that the automatic control complex of the nuclear strike is still operating on the territory of the country. Missile silos are scattered across the country and are ready to strike anywhere in the world. And Koval intends to get to the command center to dictate his terms to the world. Leo orders Thomas to change his clothes, because in military uniform they will not pass through the territory of Ukraine and a few kilometers. He himself also takes off his clothes, and Harp sees that Leo is not human. The surprised guy wonders who his commander really is, and he replies that he's a 4th-generation biotech. If he inspires terror and distrust, he'll remove the guy from the mission. Harp wonders why he was sent here in the first place, to which Leo informs him that no one sent him. He chose Thomas because he needs someone who thinks outside the box. Leo and Thomas, accompanied by a platoon of soldiers and androids, leave for the rebel camp. The road is dangerous, an attack could happen at any moment. But the captain and Thomas strike up a conversation, and Leo asks for details about Harp's fiancée Olivia. Thomas shows a picture of the girl, and Leo jokes about the guy after learning that she calls him Bear. A military convoy pulls up to the civilians. They are informed that the road to the camp is blocked. The androids prepare for battle, the soldiers leave the vehicles. The humans, who suddenly seemed peaceful, begin to show signs of aggression. Weapons appear in their hands, and it seems that the slightest provocation and a firefight will begin. At that moment, Leo gets out of the car and walks towards the rebels. He orders the military to lower their weapons and puts his own away. No one hears what he is saying, but a handshake with their commander makes it clear that an agreement has been reached. The captain walks back to the vehicle. He orders the military to stand down, for they are being allowed into the clinic. And then shots of Koval's militants are heard from a nearby house. A firefight breaks out. Leo orders Thomas to take the vaccine and follow him. The boys continue on foot. Soon they reach a refugee camp, a huge covered area with many women, children, and old people. Harp and Leo walk to the hospital, where they are met by several doctors, thanking the military for their help. Suddenly shots ring out. It's a sniper lying on the roof trying to kill Leo and Harp, but the captain is faster. He drags the bandit to the ground and realizes from the tattoo that it is Koval's subordinate. The military man gives the gunman to the angry men and they beat the sniper to death. Harp is shocked by this massacre. The partners drive on, because Leo's informants are elsewhere, and the captain suddenly says that Harp was right to shoot at the transport, and that he should have been rewarded for saving 40 people, not punished for 2 dead. And although Leo is not a living being, he is also capable of violating instructions. The car arrives at the location. Behind the fence, a surprised Harp sees a peaceful yard with many children playing. He meets the orphanage keeper Sophia, who turns out to be Leo's informant. The girl tells him that Koval is one step away from the installations. The missiles can be launched only after entering strictly classified codes, which are hidden in a safe somewhere in this part of the city. Victor knows where the installations are, so once he has the codes, he can access the nuclear button. An arms dealer might know where the safe is located. Having learned that Harp pilots drones, the girl is interested in his impression of watching his work up close, because these children were left without a home precisely because of the bombings. Later, Sophia leads her partners to the market to a vendor's tent. The merchant's security guards try to interfere, but Leo easily fights them off. The merchant is forced to tell them that the safe is on Passenger Street, at the bank. Sophia kills the traitor. Harp and Leo drive to the bank. Leo asks for a tracking device to be cut out of his back, as the Russians have devices to intercept signals and he doesn't want to be spotted. Armed, the men walk towards the building. The pair enter the bank hall and come under fire from the gunmen. While Leo deals with them, Harp has to call the commander and tell him that Koval is at these coordinates. The case is complicated by the presence of hostages, which Thomas needs to get out of the building. Having interrupted the guards, Leo encounters a Russian robot, which he destroys with a grenade launcher. After that, he runs deep into the building to find Koval, on the way disposing of the enemy. Meanwhile, Harp takes the hostages out of the building and sees two armored personnel carriers with droids coming out of them. Suddenly, the militants run out, covering themselves with female hostages, demanding that they drop their weapons. Harp tries to convince them to let the hostages go, but then the Russian robots appear, preparing to attack. Leo continues his pursuit of Koval and sees a man holding a yellow suitcase with codes. The droid opens fire on the gunman and the fight begins. Harp manages to hide behind a concrete block. He is horrified to see the hostages dying, but he can do nothing. Still, he manages to get a few people out of the fire. He contacts the commander again and learns that the bank is about to be destroyed from the air, so Leo and the civilians are collateral damage. Leo catches up to the man with the briefcase and takes it away, but it's not Koval, and that's when the missile hits the bank building. Target is destroyed. Harp is trying to regain consciousness. He sees what his work looks like: piles of ashes, burned bodies, blood and dirt. And through the dust of smoke, Leo walks down the street. He has managed to survive. Later, the men are riding in an automobile. Thomas doesn't understand why Leo really needs him and orders him back to base. Suddenly, the robot refuses to obey Harp because his system allows it. In addition, Thomas deleted his security system and damaged a piece of US military equipment with it. And thanks to his going on the air, General Eckhart believes that Leo has been destroyed. He then hits Thomas on the head and throws him out of the car. After a while, Thomas is picked up by the rebels and brought to their base, where he is met by the head of the resistance, Sophia, to whom he informs that it is not Koval but Leo who is tearing towards the perimeter, to which Sophia says that Leo is going to take control of the missiles for the resistance. Meanwhile, Leo arrives at Koval's lair and accuses him of trying to kill him, then admits that he has the codes. Sophia says she trusts Leo, but Thomas is sure the missiles are for the captain himself. He's a machine, he can't be trusted. Meanwhile, Leo admits to Koval that he needs the perimeter. Sophia argues that Leo is no good at deception, but a real enemy of the US, and they want to prolong the conflict to destabilize Russia. Only the rebels really want peace because it's their country, and if the guns turn against America because of Leo, the people of Ukraine don't care. Harp is trying to prove that hitting the states is thousands of innocent people dead, and it's not collateral damage, it's mass murder. Meanwhile, Koval and Leo continue to discuss the terms of the deal. There was a deal. Koval takes the perimeter and from there dictates the terms, but Leo can't forgive the attempt to kill him and a fight breaks out. The captain eliminates all of Koval's security guards, killing the terrorist himself, then finds the perimeter coordinates in Koval's computer. While Harp returns to the American base, he reveals that he was the one who removed the tracking system from Leo. Thomas turns to his military piloting partner and she finds Leo's car with the help of the drones. After recognizing the direction the captain is going, they figure out the location of the control room. Thomas asks to give him one last chance and fix the situation. He will find Leo and then call the fire on himself. The drone will destroy the control center with missiles and then there will be no strike. Thomas is given a weapon with special ammo that can penetrate the biorobot's hull and he goes to the missile control center silo. He goes to the center room, where Leo is already turning on the missile control panel. The former partners meet at the console and a fight breaks out. Harp shoots Leo, But the bullets don't do much damage, and Thomas passes out, and Leo goes to the console. The countdown comes on, and the launcher hatch opens. The Bale pilot watching the installation reports back, but Harp regains consciousness and shoots Leo with special ammo. The bio-robot takes significant damage and Harp attempts to disable the remote. General Eckhart asks for confirmation that that is where Leo is. He is ready to strike, but Thomas is left with questions for the captain as to why he needs to do so, and the latter admits that he, Leo, is a monster and the real face of war. He intends to show the world that if one American robot can kill millions of Americans, then obviously the program should not go into production. America must realize that the wars must stop. Harp then asks to fire the missiles and rushes off, leaving an immobilized Leo at mine. Bale launches the missiles, the control room is destroyed, Eckhart calls Harp, there is silence on the air, and suddenly Harp's lieutenant responds. Mission accomplished and the world saved. The movie makes you think about the modern conduct of war. It is enough for a man to launch a missile and go about his business. He doesn't see how much pain and destruction his job has caused. He doesn't realize that there is a lot of pain and suffering behind the explosion of his missile. Write in the comments what you think about it.